Hello and welcome to A Smith Video, Episode 4, Why Goals, Determination, Patience, and Better Choices are so important. Just as an example of how goals work for most, people usually go to university because they know that they need a degree to get the job that they want. So they have something to work towards, and that's what pushes them to go to school. This is a concept that is adopted by many. But what if goals were set for more areas of life, even every area of life? Pick whatever circumstance or example that you want to pick, but it applies. Would we all get more done? In my opinion, because I've seen it work for my own life and in the lives of others, it's a resounding yes. I found that goals cause my own motivation to be triggered by simply having a goal to work towards. That's just how I'm wired. But the problem for most is that goals are forgotten about. Most people finish school, get into their job, climb the corporate ladder, as far as they can go, and they stop because they're stuck for whatever reason. They fall into the trap of being okay with comfortable, and that's it. So why is the importance of goals usually forgotten somewhere along the way? It has to do with complacency. Now, contentment, being happy while doing something, and complacency, being happy while doing nothing, on the other hand, are entirely different. This is important to know because it's up to you to notice the difference and act and react accordingly. For me, when I was in my fourth job working in restaurants, I noticed that a lot of people were quitting their job there, and that's okay because that's not what they wanted to do, but not me. I actually ended up being there for 10 years. That's because I wanted to own a restaurant, and that was something I wanted to work towards. I have a lot of goals actually, but I knew that I couldn't just have a restaurant, but I needed to put in the work and the practice to one day own a restaurant. I kept working towards that goal because of determination. I kept showing up, and I used determination to my advantage, and you can do the same thing with your strengths. If you tend to be more determined, that's a great thing. Sometimes you and me don't know when to quit, but I actually didn't notice until my 20s that determination was a strength of mine. Goals have a weird way of affecting my behavior in that way, and I have a goal actually that I won't know if I will be able to do until my 50s, but it won't happen until my 80s, 70s or 80s. But that goal keeps me on track in the areas of finance and health, because finance, I'm going to need money to do it, and health, I want to be around in my 70s or 80s to see it happen. So both of those things matter. So once you know what you want to do, you can then build your life around those things and incorporate more goals into it. Another case in point, another example, is me and my friend about 12 years ago. We tried to climb the highest peak here in Colorado. Me and my best friend, and we went out, and a freak blizzard came in from the north, and so it brought us back down the mountain. And so I looked at the weather for the next day, and it was going to be good. So when we got back to the bottom of the mountain, I thought it would be okay to ask him if we could try again the next day, and he thought I was crazy. But again, it goes back to this determination level. One of my goals is to climb the highest point in each state. And so that was the one in Colorado, and it was a goal, and I was determined to get there. Some would call it determination, some would call it stupidity, call it whatever you want to. But my persistence has contributed to my success time and time again. Sure, there are times when quitting is necessary, but quitting too soon is the very reason that so many people never find the success they're looking for. Now, I don't want to succeed in the wrong things, but if I'm going to err, I'm going to err on the side of trial and error in the attempt. All of this to say, I've found a funny thing about determination, but it's because determination that I've stopped waiting for people to pick me and instead picked myself. The patience for good things to come is a beautiful thing. I became better at making decisions once I began thinking long term rather than short term, but to get here, I had to learn patience. This advice right here might be the one most important thing I ever share with you. You need patience to find success. So many people are thinking about what they're doing today or tomorrow without giving 20, 30, 40, even 50 years much thought. But when you know where you're going, again, you can then model your life around it. But for all of this to make sense, you must learn patience. It's so important because success doesn't happen overnight. If you're in your 20s thinking of starting a business, your best moment to start is today, not tomorrow. When you understand this, life becomes much easier. When you understand that patience is going to take patience, whether you start a business in your 20s, your 30s, it might not be until your 40s until it becomes something. But that's why patience is so important. And this is why it's so important to show up again and again and putting your best effort forward. So if you have goals, you're going to need determination and patience. But you're also going to need to make better choices. When you adopt all of these things for your life, you will find success. Patience, determination, and better choices. Next time we'll talk about what your life is trying to tell you and why you need to listen to it. See you then.